Understanding Sweden, Episode 3 4 Years and One Envelope. Most chapters in a textbook have one weakness. They're about the country. This one is about us. And there's some good news hidden in it that people rarely catch the first time through. Let's start with the calendar. Elections to the Parliament, to the Regional Assembly, and to the Municipal Assembly are held every 4 years. Elections to the European Parliament happen every 5 years. So the dates don't line up, which means that envelope from the election authority shows up more often than you'd think. You can vote once you turn 18. After that, the rules start to differ. And this is the part to listen to closely, because different elections have different rules. To vote in the parliamentary election, you have to be a Swedish citizen. No exceptions. This is the national level. But to vote in the municipal and regional elections, you don't need citizenship. You need something else. You have to live in Sweden and be registered at your address. That's what it's called. For 3 years in total. For citizens of the European Union and citizens of the Nordic countries, the bar is even lower. They just need to be registered in the country. And for the European Parliament, EU citizens vote in the country where they're registered. Now let's put that together. The level that decides which school our children go to, how the snow gets cleared, who looks after the elderly, that level is open to us after 3 years of being registered. Citizenship is only needed for the Parliament. We usually assume it's the other way around, that until we have the passport, we're nobody. That's not true, and it costs us votes. Let's remember this from this part. You can vote from the age of 18. In the parliamentary election, only citizens can vote. In municipal and regional elections, you can vote after 3 years of being registered in the country. For EU and Nordic citizens, being registered is enough. The way it works is simple, and it's designed for someone doing it for the first time. Before an election, everyone who has the right to vote gets a voting card in the mail. It tells you exactly which polling place to go to. But you don't have to wait for election day. You're allowed to vote early at certain places set up for that. At the polling place, you'll find ballots for the different parties. The vote is secret. Everyone votes behind a screen, so no one can see what choice you made. And that secrecy isn't just a formality. It's protection. It's there so that no one can pressure you, not at work and not at home. But what if the question isn't about parties at all, but about one specific issue? That happens too. Sometimes there's a public vote, a referendum. It can be national, or it can be held in just one region or one municipality. But there's something about it you should know ahead of time. This kind of vote is advisory. Politicians don't have to follow the result. So it's a strong signal, not an order. Still, history shows just how strong. In 2003, Sweden held a public vote on the euro. People said no to replacing the Swedish krona with the euro, and the country kept the krona. Officially, the decision wasn't binding. In practice, it's held for more than 20 years. Let's remember, the voting card comes to your home and tells you your polling place. You can vote early, the vote is secret, a public vote is advisory, and in 2003, that's how Sweden said no to the euro. A party is a way for people who share the same ideas about running society to come together. Different parties offer different solutions, and they push the issues they think matter most. That's exactly what creates the condition for democracy we talked about earlier. The voter has something to choose from. And here we come back to you. Anyone who wants to influence what politics is about can join a party. Or you can get together with others and start a new one. The barrier to entry in Swedish politics is lower than most people think. Before an election, there's a campaign. Parties try to win voters over through debates, meetings, political advertising, and campaigning out on the streets and squares. Once every 4 years, politics steps out of the television set and sets up a tent outside the shopping center. Now for the arithmetic behind the whole Swedish habit of making deals. Elections here are proportional. That means parties get seats in parliament and in the regional and municipal assemblies in proportion to the share of votes they receive. 20% of the votes, 20% of the seats. And from that comes the thing that shapes Swedish politics more than any ideology. A party almost never wins more than half on its own, so parties have to work together to build a majority behind their proposals. This isn't winner takes all. Here it's the winner still has to come to an agreement with someone. But there is a threshold. To get into parliament, a party has to win at least 4% of the votes. The rule isn't there to shut out the small parties. It's there to keep parliament from filling up with too many of them, because then putting together a stable majority would be almost impossible. 3 things to take from this part. Elections are proportional. Your share of the votes is your share of the seats. The threshold for parliament is 4%. And the consequence? Parties have to work together. There are 8 parties sitting in Parliament up until the 2026 election. The textbook lists them in alphabetical order, with no ranking of any kind, and that's the right way to remember them. The Centre Party, the Christian Democrats, the Liberals, the Environment Party, usually just called the Greens, the Moderates, the Social Democrats, the Sweden Democrats, and the Left Party. And one last detail, one that matters especially in local elections. In regional and municipal elections, you'll often find special parties that only have policies for their own region or their own municipality, and no policies at all at the national level. People came together over a bridge, a school, or a hospital, not over a whole world view. Let's pull the series together. Once every 4 years, an envelope with your voting card lands in your mailbox. For most of us, it arrives before citizenship does. 3 years on the register, and the vote in municipal and regional elections is already ours. The ballot is secret, so nobody can put pressure on you. Seats are shared out according to the share of votes, which means everyone has to negotiate. And at the local level, the list can include parties the neighbours came up with over one specific hospital. Staying silent at an election is a right too. It's written right there in the textbook. But it isn't neutral. Not showing up doesn't cancel the decision. It hands it to the people who did show up. That was the course Understanding Sweden. The material comes from the official Citizenship Test textbook. Nothing added, nothing left out.